I like y'all. I'm also off NyQuil and whiskey, so I might not like y'all. I might just be pretending. But I love button poetry, and I love, like, honestly, more than anything, the confidence of white people. I love that y'all are still here like y'all didn't fuck up America, and I'm like, this is such a beautiful thing. We gotta die because of y'all, and y'all still at poetry spot. So give it up for being white. Because we did. So now I just want to acknowledge that she's like, thank you. I've been saying this shit all my life. White people just be fucking shit up. And I know that just oh, you from, give it up for Detroit. White people, y'all ain't gonna never go there, but yeah. I love being from Detroit. People always ask me stupid shit like, yo, like, you from Detroit, you ever been killed? And I'm like, twice, bitch, twice. But I'm here. And I'm black, and I'm alive. So, yes, white people, I want y'all to laugh out of guilt all night. Even if you don't like my shit, just pretend for me, right? And then black people, y'all just laugh because we still alive in this bitch. All right, so speaking of people that, I love and I hate, I haven't been able to do this poem on button poetry because I haven't been on a button poetry stage in a while. But I have this love-hate relationship with Raven Simone, right? As we all do. I just don't get her, right? Like, I love That's So Raven, and I'm gonna watch the reboot, like, for sure, right? For real. Okay. But sometimes you gotta call your bays out, right? And I say that because that's my bae. And I want to be very clear about this. Like, if you ever see me and Raven Simone on Instagram, like, holding hands, like, I'm a fake bitch. So, like, so if she be like, yo, who wrote that poem? You be like, I have no fucking idea. Like, first 48 me, blur my face out, bitch, it wasn't me. I'm just trying to sell out and get on. So, so y'all know, right? But she was going through that whole shit of like, like I'm from every continent in Africa, and like, don't label me, but do label me American. That whole stupid shit that the new black people go through. So I don't have enough money to be the new black, right? But again, I'm trying to sell out so I can understand it. So. So I wrote this poem dedicated to Raven Simone and the Stacey Dash and all the people of the world that just, like, all our fan base fucking up. I get it, right? I know, dog. But we still got to sacrifice and have sex with them. So, so yeah, I wrote this an open letter to Raven Simone. If you tear half the label off of a jar, two things happen. One, the contents of the jar are still the contents of the jar. The label does not make it what it is or what it is trying not to be. Two, a half-labeled jar is still a labeled jar indeed. If you tear the part that says peanut off of a peanut butter jar, that does not make it butter. That does not make it any less brown, any more yellow, does not bring it any closer to the sun. People with peanut allergies will still view it as a threat when they see it, still shoot it down in the middle of the road in St. Louis, in a suburb in Florida, in a Walmart in Ohio, on a bar in California, on a couch in Detroit, say that it was playing its music so loud that they felt their throats closing, kill it and blame it on an allergic reaction. Tell me, when you went home and made love to your girlfriend that night, did it feel like two labelless bodies, two humans free of everything except for their American? Or did it feel like the godly curves of two women rubbing against each other with enough intensity to come and birth a revolution simultaneously? Was your pussy in her mouth? Was her breast in your hands? Did it feel like gay sex? Did it feel like this is the feeling deeply that Brittany and Crystal in Texas died over? Like this is the feeling deeply that Audre Lorde was speaking about, like not for you to only wear one of your flags, not for you to only be gay on the internet, not for you to try and convince black gays the most important part about being black and gay is to not be either. See, your hair might curl when it rains, but when they come for you, they will not bring water. Their guns will not be loaded with compliments. For all of the years that you spent on Disney keeping their children company, they will not take off their hoods, lower their sickles, have your back, claim you as one of theirs, all because you don't know which country in Africa you're from. You might think that here is the only language that your skin speaks, but I can assure you that racism is one hell of a translator. Old black or new black, you still black. Outside gay or bedroom gay, you still gay. You still Target. You still one police stop. Or no, I'm sorry, I have a girlfriend away from your mother bearing you on this same land you tried to protect. Don't make them have to remind you that you are still one of us. Thank you. But again, I'm still gonna have sex with her. So here's the thing. All right, before I was on this tour, it was called the Good Grief Tour, and it was with one of my best friends in this world. Her name is Ciara Freeman. Give it up for Ciara if you know Ciara's poetry. Ciara is the only person that can make me smoke weed, right? Like, I don't fucking smoke weed because I turn into a stupid person, but she like, bitch, if you got me eating sushi, you gonna smoke weed. And I'm just like, okay, I get it. We're two different types of lesbians. So, while we were on this tour, we were like just traveling the world, teaching black people, specifically black women, how to navigate through grief without the proper resources. And I lost my brother. And I was writing about my brother in all of these abstract ways. And I was like, you know what, fuck it. I'm just going to write about like all the things that my brother were to me as opposed to a role in my life, right? So white people, there's a few things you might not understand. White people, you don't know what a baller belly is, right? All right, cool. I got you. So a baller belly is when like you in the hood and you get money and your stomach gets like really big, but everything else is like really small. Okay, so like you'll understand that. And it was just like so many things my brother was like. He gave me like a fake Louis Vuitton bag. He like drank a lot of people juices in the middle of the night and shit. So I was like, you know what, you were an asshole. And even though you're gone, I have to like let people know that you were an asshole. So I wrote this poem dedicated to him and the things that he were to me. You baller belly, you baller, you broke, you $10,000 one day gambling. Sis, can I borrow $100 the next shoe? Had me all excited about that Louis Vuitton bag. You had me in the airport thinking I was stunting. You had me in a fake Louis bag, looking stupid, erasing pictures on Facebook and Instagram. You black man statue tall, you. Hello? Answer your phone like a hood rat, but you Marcus. So we think it's cute when you answer your phone like a hood rat. You got me answering my phone like Marcus got me, wishing Marcus could still answer his phone, wishing you was about to pull up, but you ain't pulling up late no more. You ain't pulling up on time ever you gone. You and your son smile. You somewhere still gambling like roulette and taking a chance, then end your life. You better not piss God off drinking his juice in the middle of the night. But even if you piss God off, you be back in his good graces by morning because you charming, because you Marcus. You had me late to prom, considering not going. Still went with you, stole my thunder, but still showed me the best time. That's so Marcus. That's so you. You so selfish. You so angry with me. I'm still angry with you, but boy, you so angry. You yelled at my nephew. I yelled at you. You stomped on my 42-inch brand new smart TV. I ain't talked to your ass for weeks. You were murdered before we made up. I told the funeral home not to make you up, to cremate you. You laid there with a smirk on your face like you died smiling, like I didn't see the dried up tears on your cheek, like the piercings of the bullets through your nose didn't hurt. You made me believe that we couldn't cry to each other even when we were in pain, so I smiled. Ignored how the bullets ripped through your chest and told you, nigga, you owe me a brand new TV. And I swear, You smirked harder, especially after I said that you were right. Kobe would never win another championship, and the Lions are probably much better than I've been giving them credit for. You 33 on the 3-year anniversary of your death. You trying to make me believe that you some type of Jesus. Like you ain't just another black man with no father, an untimely death, bad habits, and a sister that can't forget about you. You Marcus. You and your son's smile, your mama's addiction, your father's regret. You deserve this life as much as anyone else. You could have taught a course on survival. You didn't start this war on drugs. You were a fucking casualty in it, you Marcus. You martyr. You martyr. Even if you died for yourself. Thank you. So long story short, I'm just a sad bitch. So, and I say that because like I don't want Dinesh to come back as a lesbian and think that I'm like the best relationship ever. I'm literally the worst relationship ever. You just have to be fucking sad with me all day, every day, and I'm okay with that, right? So give it up if you sad and you okay with that shit. Again, white people, you are not sad. So you don't have the right to be sad. It's all black people. All right, so here's the thing. This is like very straightforward. This is called 10 things you sound like when you say all lives matter in response to Black Lives Matter. Or stop saying that stupid and sensitive ass shit. Huh? You like this already? Just the title? I fuck with you. We're going to go out after this. All right. So, 1, your family pet goes missing. You post pictures of it all around your neighborhood. I come and post pictures of other people's missing pets from around the world on top of the picture of your missing pet. Well, because you ain't the only one missing a pet. 2, I show up to your grandmother's funeral and hands out my grandmother's obituaries. You ask why, because nigga, you ain't the only one that's missing a grandma. 4, I go into the hospital and change all of the intensive care unit signs to care unit signs because every life in the hospital should be cared for just the same. What makes intensive care unit patients think that their lives matter more than the life of Jenny on the first floor fighting the cold? Colds can kill you too. 4, your fiance stands you up at the altar, and as you're crying, I get up and yell, millions of people get broken up with every day. Stop whining about it. 5, I show up to the Alcohol Anonymous meeting to get help from my cotton candy addiction. An addict is an addict. We all deserve help. 6, you say Kaylee Anthony. I say, what about her? We still don't know who killed Little John Benet Ramsey. 7, I say Black Lives Matter. You say you don't see color. 8, I say Dallas. You say Blue Lives Matter. I say I thought you didn't see color. 9, it sounds like when I say Black Lives Matter, and you say all lives matter. 10, it sounds like when I say Black Lives Matter and you say all lives matter. 10, it sounds like when we say Black Lives Matter and you say all lives matter, it sounds racist. It sounds inhumane. It sounds like you trying to choke us with our own grief. It sounds like all lives matter. But when we say Rakia Boyd, Alton Sterling, Tamir Rice, Philando Castile, Ayanna Jones, Jessica Hernandez, Reese Walker, Kendrick Johnson, the people in fucking Flint, you say nothing. I just don't understand y'all. It's like literally like it's okay for you to say Black Lives Matter, right? Like, oh, so here's the thing. All black people just shut the fuck up, right? And I know you don't tell black people to shut the fuck up because y'all slap other people and I can't fight, so don't do that. So I'm gonna politely say, shh. Okay, here's the thing. All white people, one time, just say Black Lives Matter. Just, all right. Now just say Black Lives Matter like you gonna be at the next Black Lives Matter rally and we gonna like not fucking get maced and shit because y'all gonna be at the front line and y'all got health insurance. So one more time for us. Black Lives Matter! Thank you. That's all. And then we can just go like a few steps further, right? We can say Black trans lives matter. Let's do that. Let's. Are y'all good with that? Y'all okay? All right. So here you go, button poetry. All your white people said it tonight, so now they got to be held accountable for the shit that happens from here on out. Okay, cool. All right. So I don't. Huh? Oh, do that. Oh, that shit too. Go ahead. Native lives. All the lives matter. That's what we've been saying this whole time. So like we know y'all lives matter. We get it. Like y'all have 401ks and shit. So all right. So I am Natasha T. Miller. I don't have anything for sale tonight. I give out free hugs. Come get that shit. The love is free. But it's hot as fuck up here, so I might be a little bit musty. But I did take a shower. But that shit is. I know, and I'm black. It's like sweating on my press and shit. I'm like, I am not Beyonce in this bitch. For real, it's hard as fuck. Yes, I am the founder of Artist in Detroit. That is a bed and breakfast, a global bed and breakfast, which means that you can come stay at the Artist in Detroit for free in exchange for going into a local high school and providing a fucking workshop. That's all you have to do at any Artist Inn around the world. You can come stay with me for free, and I have sex for free. So, catch me outside. All right, so I like y'all. All right, I'm gonna do a couple more and get out your way again. Give it up for Button Poetry for making this possible. All right, so 2 more. I'm done. Back to the sad shit. This is a poem that I wrote about my brother because I loved my brother because my brother was he was murdered 3 days before New Year's, and he was cremated on my birthday, and his funeral was the day after, and he was a year and 11 days apart from me, and then his birthday came 11 days after that. So he was my best friend, and I want to make sure that I'm honoring him. And I learned this from Ciara, to just talk about the people that we lost. So on that tour, we realized that a lot of people weren't saying the names of the people that they lost, and I hadn't said my brother's name in 2 years after I had lost him, and I wrote this poem dedicated to that. They say you shouldn't mourn over the loss of a drug dealer. They say the drug dealers stood on the tracks their whole lives, challenging the train, knew that even if the weather delayed it, death was still showing up at their front door. They say the drug dealer died so casually. They say, what's his name's child on Joy Road or Rosa Parks was murdered in cold blood on his front porch. They say his, they don't say his name. They don't sympathize with the death of a drug dealer unless he was their drug dealer, gave them free drugs, paid their rent once, kept their lights on, gave their kids a Christmas. They don't give the drug dealers a backstory or a reason why he's just another one. They say he purchased the engraving, so of course the bullets had his signature on them. They say his, they don't say his name. They say his funeral is next week. They say his funeral had a line the length of his rap sheet curled around the corner, must have been popular, probably could have been somebody. Don't talk about who he actually was. They say his casket was nice. They say his mother was nice, was burying her only son, and still had enough strength to stand outside the church and laugh with his niggas. They say his niggas, they don't say his name. They treat it like a weight their fragile tongues are too weak to hold. Don't want to make the mistake of humanizing a drug dealer. Can't let the public know they gave a fuck about a drug dealer, so they'll show you his chalk outline long before showing you his actual picture. They say his death, I say his death, I say his gray sweats are still on a hanger in my closet, his cologne still on my dresser. I say it's been 1,256 days since my brother was murdered, and I haven't said his name once. I say his in every Facebook post and every conversation since his death. I say his death. I say that I'm afraid to say his name, because the quicker I say his name, the quicker I'll empty myself of his memories, afraid of remembering what his name tastes like, scared that it'll fall like ashes and my mouth get buried underneath my tongue, turn my lips into a headstone that forces me to talk about him, to stop saying his name, to say Marcus, to say Marcus, to say my brother. His name was Marcus. Thank you. All right. So if you follow me on anywhere, like on social media, like Natasha T Miller, T Miller Poetry on Instagram, Natasha T Miller on Facebook, and you can also look up Artist In, ARTISTSINN, Detroit.org if you want to keep up with how we're expanding. But again, I don't have anything for sale. If you want to buy me whiskey, I drink that. If you want to give me a hug, I do that. If you want to have sex, I can do that sometimes. Actually, you don't want to have sex with me. I'm very lazy. Literally just like, okay, I'm done. Good fucking night. I gotta get up in the morning. So, and I just don't want to like make any false promises. You think that like I'm an all-nighter and I'm like a 46-minute and I'm okay with that, right? Because who cares? So. Here's the thing. I was dealing. Thank you to all the people who only last 36 to 48 minutes. White people. So here's the thing. I wrote this poem actually on the plane this morning. So I've never performed this poem before. And I wrote this poem because I realized that I was an asshole. Well, I knew I was an asshole, but I realized that I was an asshole when it came to like all of my friends who were trying to comfort me through this process of grief. And I know that a lot of us, like, we deal with grief, and we deal with grief in like peculiar ways, and sometimes we shut people out, but we have to be willing to accept the consequences of shutting people out. So I wanted to write this to, honestly, there's a girl in Detroit, her name is Charisse, and we dated before, right? And she was one of my best friends. We stopped dating in like high school. And the night that my brother was killed, like somebody called her in Detroit and was like, yo, like this just happened to T Miller's brother. And she showed up and she stayed with me for like 56 days straight, right? And all we did was we drank Ciroc every night and listened, for real. Like, it was just peach Ciroc and drunken love. That was all we did. And then right after I felt like a tiny bit of happiness, I just went on the road to do poems and I stopped calling her. And I've never apologized to her, so this is more of a personal poem, and also just a letter to the people that we treat like shit, because sometimes we're just fucking shit people, and you have to admit that. But if you still want to have sex, that's okay, right? So this is more so about what I learned about my own grief. I learned that grief will humble you. That there's not enough success in the world to make you forget that your loved ones are dead. I know that I've been an asshole to all of my friends since my brother died. That there's a girl in Detroit named Charisse that I hadn't talked to in 3 years prior to the night he was murdered, and she still showed up to the crime scene before his body was even removed from the concrete. She drank her liver into the darkest of holes and listened to the song Drunk in Love with me for 56 days straight, and the first time I felt well enough to go outside sober and sleep in the dark again. I stopped answering her phone calls. Charisse, if you're listening, I'm sorry. Even though there's a good fucking excuse for it, I know sometimes we become the haunted and the hunter, the monster that we are running from and the monster that we are becoming. I know that your phone has been ringing nonstop since the overdose, since your mother passed, since your relapse, since the surgery, since your lover left, since the very moment it all happened, and you've been hitting the ignore button and telling yourself that nobody cares about you. And I get it. Grief is more contagious than joy. It is much easier to share sadness than it is to be responsible for making someone else happy. Easier to hand our baggage to the people we love than move through the world freely. It's the reason I sat in my car and cried when I found out Charisse was pregnant instead of sending her a congratulations message. It's the reason I left my mother at home to mourn the death of her only son while I went out on the road to perform poem for strangers, because hurt people is so damn cliche but true, because you know that you can't be held accountable for anything you do under the influence of grief, and that you can blame anything on the dead, so you do. You become the excuse and the excused, the burning building and the fire, expecting to be rescued and left alone until you are left alone, until you can no longer blame your behavior on your pain, until you have to be good to your friends again, until you have to send apologies years later, until you hear someone that you love tell you that they can't forgive you, and you feel success and empty in the same body, until you are humbled, until you realize that you are not the only one, that we are all hurting, and as a result, hurting each other, until you learn to be humble, until you learn to be grieving and also be gracious, until you learn that this shit was never just about you. Thank you, Button Poetry. Thank you. I am Natasha T. Miller. Give it up for your hosts. Give it up for yourselves.